Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my New Jersey Devils franchise mode series right here in NHL 19. You know the deal. And today, fresh off the back of getting absolutely spanked in the playoffs, it's time for what could prove to be yet another controversial offseason for the Devils, as we left the last episode with quite a few questions as far as what to do with certain members of this team. Of course, at the draft, we made our move in terms of goaltenders, and whether or not it was the right move, time will tell. But Yaro Askarov is now the starting goaltender of the New Jersey Devils. The main reason, of course, being that when it comes to Mestra, we just don't know how long it's going to take him to be ready. And the fact is, we're in win-now mode right now, or at least close to it. If it takes 3 or 4 years, Taylor Hall's going to start to be on the decline, and this team could be in just a tad bit of trouble. I mean, you could argue he's already out of his prime, but we don't want to waste these final overly productive years for Taylor Hall. And when you look at, I guess, the team in general, it is a fairly well-rounded team, and a team that could compete if the goaltending was up to standard, which it hadn't been over the past few seasons, no matter how many chances we gave to Blackwood. And defensively, of course, still quite a few questions over what to do with the likes of Severson, Seider, and Smith, and whether or not they're actually the guys that we want to build around. There's a little bit of support to keep them, but a lot of people in favor of just saying, screw it, get rid of Jesper Bratt already. And I'm not sure entirely how this is going to play out. It's going to be interesting one way or another. We have $9 million in cap space to work with, by the way. It's going to be a little bit more than that, though, by the time we get there. And, you know, actually, here, let's do this. We have that 1 day. We're on that 1 day buffer where we can send in some of those offers. So, goaltending-wise, of course, Sandstrom's gone. Quick is gone. We're basically set. Defensively, Xavier Bernard is certainly coming back, and we'll actually bring up the old calculator app on the old PC here because we would be looking to save a bit of money. It's nearly $19 million that we have to spend. We should be able to drop that to $1 million flat. We'll bump it up a little bit more, and we'll see if that goes through. Bernard did pretty well when we called him up. Colton White and Holtz both kind of underperformed with chances that they had, so they'll be on the way out. But when it comes to re-signing Severson, I don't know. I really don't. 4.8 is rough. That is rough. Now, the issue is we don't exactly have a built-in replacement now, but there might be someone available via free agency. And with Smith and Walsh, I'm not sure what we want to do here. It's probably not the worst idea in the world to bring Riley Walsh back as far as how much he's looking for. 1.1, or if I drop it down to 1 year, you know, we'll do that. Let's go 1.15 for Walsh. But there's a chance we could let Ty Smith potentially go as an RFA. Not entirely sure what we want to do with him again. And then forward-wise, I mean, as far as the expiring contracts are concerned, we can just take a look again. Coleman's deal is up. Gates' deal also up. Evan Barrett, we know that we're going to bring back. He's not even looking for that much, so that's perfect. Zetterlund might make a push for a fourth line spot. He wants to get paid like he's going to be on the fourth line. So we'll see what happens with him. Be able to drop that down to 9.75, hopefully. Altai Barmakian does not want to come back. We'll bump that up a little bit and see if he stays. It's a cheap deal. Jack Bedini, same thing. Gonna be pushing for a fourth line spot this year. Nathan Bastian, we're gonna let go. We gave him a chance this past year. He didn't really get the job done. We'll pay Pavanka a little bit more. And in terms of pronouncing this dude's name, guess what? We're never gonna get it right, so we're not even gonna try. But we'll send him a deal. And with that, I think we're okay. It's just, do we bring back Gates and Coleman? I mean, Gates, yeah, he did well last year. There's really no reason to not bring him back. He wants to come back. So 1.4 is not too bad. And then Blake Coleman doesn't want to come back. We'll see if he'll take 2, which is a bit much. But still, we'll see, because he's been pretty good for us. So it's just, what the hell do we do with Smith and Severson? And I think at the very least, we are going to look to re-sign Smith. I don't think, I mean, if he's asking for 3 here, it's not going to be a tremendous return if we were to let him go. Of course, last year we risked it with Blackwood in terms of not taking the deal. It'd be 3,275 for him. And then Severson, who doesn't want to re-sign, that's going to be so expensive. And money-wise, it could be a little bit close. So maybe we'll wait. We'll at the very least sim a day. We have some scouts whose deals are up. Let's see what we're dealing with. So Coleman's back, $2 million for the next year. Zetterlund, Bernard, Smith, Altabamaki rejected. Gates is back. Bedini, Barrett, Pavanka, Talaviti, Walsh, all signed. So Altai Barmakian, the only guy to reject the contract. I wouldn't have guessed that. Jonathan Quick, you are gone. Sandstrom, you are gone. And then Severson, we have $14 million. Right. Colton White, you are out of here. Holtz, you are out of here. You didn't get you didn't get the longest opportunity. You didn't get the most opportunities compared to what I've been giving people lately, but you're still gone. Altai Barmakian, Buddy, pal of mine. I'll pay you the max 2-way deal for the next year. If you don't take it, you're gone. Pretty simple. And with that, this is a pretty straightforward approach. It's just, do we bring back Damon Severson? He's looking for a little bit less now than he was. But when thoughts are, when the idea of trading Sider and Smith is being thrown out there, one has to wonder just what exactly that free agent class is going to look like, because we're not allowed to make trades right now. We have to wait until free agency begins. So that's the one spot where we're kind of screwed, because, yeah, if that Godfrey guy is available, we're absolutely going after him. I'd be a little bit surprised if the Kings couldn't afford him. I don't think the Blackwood deal is going to screw them out of being able to send that guy as much money as possible. But you never know. That would be the time to go after an RFA to get a true number 1 defenseman to make this team that much better. God, I wish you could just auto re-sign all of your scouts. I really do. Danny Pepe is the final guy, I think. Thank God. All right, Damon Severson. Are we bringing you back, or are we just waiting to see what that free agent list looks like? He wasn't that bad 2 years ago, but this past season it was kind of rough. $14 million. I think we need to hold off, because there's a chance, if that number 2 defenseman's available, that he's going to be asking for more than $10 million. So we are going to let Damon Severson go to free agency. There's a chance he's done here. Chance we bring him back as well. I'm not entirely sure. But for now, we want to play it safe with the money that we have. Make sure that we're good to go in free agency, just in case there are good options out there. So let's take a look. Is that Godfrey guy from Los Angeles available? He is not. They came to a deal. That sucks. So goalie-wise, Varlamov, wow, it's not a good goalie class at all. Are there any prospects? Not really. Not really. So that's pretty rough. Defensively, so Matt Dumba is still there. And then Severson's the second highest rated option. That's a little bit of a disappointing class, though, I got to be honest, compared to what it was looking like it could have been. 67 at 19, low 4. Ulf Edler. Probably worth throwing that guy an offer. I hate low 4s, as we've talked about. But you never know. That might work out for us. We need to sign some players anyway. And then forward-wise, Jonathan Huberdeau. Kirill Kaprizov, once again there. How he's low 6 at an 89. Like, I know he's 26, so it's showing what his rating or his potential actually is. It's very strange. Very strange. Speaking of low 6s, Thomas Bjorkstrand might also work out for us. And Axelson's 21, so that's not going to help us. So, in terms of the money that we have and what we need to do with this team, God, this is a tough choice here. This is a tough choice, because I think a lot of people at this point just want me to wheel and deal and get rid of the people that haven't been performing well. But when it comes to the people that haven't been performing well, has it been because of the subpar goaltending? We still need to sign a fifth goalie just in case of injury. And then defensively, obviously we don't want to walk into the season with that as our defense. But Martinic might improve. If we bring back Severson, we have 384s and 382s, which isn't the worst. But we already missed our window to trade Ty Smith and get a good return because, of course, he regressed. And then forward-wise, someone pointed out indeed that Michael McLeod's potential went up to medium elite. So if there was ever a time to trade Mike McLeod, now would be the time. The problem is, he's coming off of a career year last year, and he might be the real deal. But this would be the time right here, right now, to trade Mike McLeod if we didn't think he was the guy. And I know some people are thinking that because we split up Bratt and McLeod, and all of a sudden Bratt, defensively was at least okay. But it's not as if McLeod was horrific, I'd say. It's a really tough call. But when someone's potential goes up like that, and thus their trade value skyrockets as well, that creates an interesting situation. Because defensively, if we wanted to, and it's a tough call with $14.5 million available, I want to see how much Godfrey got in Los Angeles. Because I don't think it would be so expensive to trade for him right now. Jeez, wow, only 6'7" for 5 years. That is a steal and a half, man. They also have Bowen Byram, Drew Doughty, Bernard Docker. My God, the defense that team's put together, that's tremendous. Do they need forward help? Kinda, sort of. That Kopitar deal is going to be up. How much money do they have? Barely any cap space at all. Because the thought was if we were to use McLeod to go out and get a number one defenseman, we'd be looking pretty good. And that is certainly a possibility. Because if you look at this team, then it'd be Hall, Hischier, Hughes, Gusev, Bratt, Boqvist, Palmieri, Persson, and Cutler, Coleman, Gates, and Acton or Zetterlund. We could move on from McLeod and be okay. Now that's a dominant 1-2 punch at center. If you look at like Hischier, and McLeod, or Hughes and McLeod, hell, Hischier, Hughes, McLeod, if we were to have all of them at center like we could, that would be insane. But we need help defensively. Ideally, we're lacking a number one and really a number two defenseman. Ideally, Butcher and Schultz would both be on the second pair, and then Seider and Smith on the third pair. We don't know how they're going to improve this offseason, though. My one fear is that if I sim to September, McLeod's value might drop, and we might miss our window to do something here. Now, Matt Dumba, in a trade to get another big-time defenseman, that might be the play. Because if we let's take a look at the top defenseman right now in the league. Let's take a look. Top defenseman. This is going to take a while. I should have... actually, wow, that loaded very quickly. Top defenseman right now. Morgan Riley, who's 29. Erik Karlsson. And then you have Heiskanen, Charlie McAvoy, Ty Berry, who stayed in Toronto. Eric Brandstrom. A lot of 91s. Krug, Makar, Godfrey in LA, who is just unreal. Brandstrom's 23, Godfrey's 21, Heiskanen's 23. Godfrey's unreal, man. Dahlin's still at a 90, Provorov, Quinn Hughes, Thomas Chabot. A lot of guys ended up capping out at pretty high overalls. But Dumba being a free agent, I think we could get away with trading McLeod and being okay. And I think in terms of who the hell we'd target here, it has to be Godfrey. Now, again, in terms of the standpoint of, LA would never trade him, thankfully we don't have any rules against that. But he's unreal. The skating, the offensive awareness, he is absolutely unreal. Swiss-born Colton Godfrey. I wonder if this is going to work. I doubt it. Because he is super expensive. And as much as I like Mike McLeod, I don't think he's the one to hold on to. I don't know, man. like I said, that trade value is just too easy to use right now. Hall, Hischier, Hughes, Bratt, Gusev, Boqvist, and then amongst forwards, Palmieri, Persson. I mean, Persson pretty much just outright replaces McLeod. If I really wanted to, I could give up Persson because he's not as established already. He might be by the end of it, but we already have some concerns about McLeod because Bratt and he just don't seem to work well on that second line. We could use either of them. I just wish McLeod and Bratt worked well together on that second line and we'd be golden, but they don't. So, God, what the hell do I do with I could use Persson if I really like McLeod. And that could give me the excuse to wait to pull the trigger on this trade. Because that way we could see how other players develop. And then if McLeod's value does drop, we just use Persson. But Persson might even be better. I mean, in 6 years, you'd think that Persson could go up 6 overall points to equal out what McLeod's done. And McLeod's on the last year of his deal, too. That's going to end up being an expensive contract. I think we have to try to trade him now. I really like Mike McLeod, but this is the time to try and make a move like this. So goaltending-wise, again, at this point, we don't really have anybody that we could give up. We could try to give up Hunter Jones. There is Sundin, who I'm not against trying to give up here. That would really be abusing the values. But at this point, I'm desperate, and I will do just that. Sider and Smith, there's not enough value there. And then forward-wise, actually, hold on. I just realized I was sorted by overall, not trade value. Tuomainen, oh God. That's right, he's terrible too. I guess we do have some people that we could give up here. We'd have to abuse trade values. But, like I said, at this point, I'm desperate. So if we were to use Tuomainen, I don't know if that would go through. It might. Let me see here. So, let's just safety net it with a first really quickly. You never know. It might not go through. Okay, good, it didn't. What if we change that to a 3rd round pick this year? How close are we? So that would go through. They're concerned about cap, which makes sense. So what if we take back some extra salary that we might be able to send elsewhere at some point? Taking Anze Kopitar's deal would be nice. They have Saad, Genny Dadonov. I think taking the Kopitar contract is the way to go because we can it's probably easier to get rid of than the Saad deal. Probably. Just retaining half salary. So, will that go through? It won't. But, saying, hey, we'll take Kopitar. You get out from underneath that contract this upcoming year. They might be dumb enough to buy that. We use the Sundin option as well. And now, money-wise, we're a little bit up against it. But this might still work. We're going to have to make another move or two. Because I do want Dumba. So, how close are we on that front? Sweeten it just a touch, you say. So, we'll take out the first. What if we add a second next year? So, McLeod and 2 very fringe prospects. We take Godfrey, which is highway robbery. It really is. McLeod's great. But we take Godfrey, which is highway robbery. There's a chance they're still going to decline this. And we let them out of the Kopitar deal for the year. Will that go through? My God. If you're on the side of not liking me fleecing the AI, then that deal doesn't do it for you. But if you're on the side of wanting this team to win before NHL 20 gets here, you have to like that deal just a little bit. Anze Kopitar is a devil. For the moment, no guarantees he stays because we desperately need to move him, but we have a number 1 defenseman, and there's a chance, of course, some of these other guys are still going to be moved out, but for now, the big move here is immediately trying to flip Kopitar, even if that takes cap retention. Bratt could still be on the way out as well, but we immediately try to flip Kopitar. There are actually teams that are interested in him, which is shocking, but I don't think any of them will be able to afford him. Vancouver's close. Can anybody afford him that wants him without retention? Vancouver was by far the closest. They were within like $1 million of the cap. And I think that's going to be the team that wins out here. Pittsburgh was close too. St. Louis was really close. And St. Louis, this might work. This might work. Now again, I don't really want to take back any salary here, but I could afford to retain just a little bit. So someone like Hillis, I think that's Cam Hillis, who's a prospect, I would be willing to do this. Now, if I could do this without them, or without me having to retain, that would be absolutely insane. What about a first and Hillis for Anze Kopitar to send him to the Blues, which would kill every Kings fan on the inside? That was rejected. That's okay. It's not all that surprising. What if I add a third-round pick this year? All right, so the first isn't going to cut it, which is okay. Let's go a second and a third and see what it looks like. Anze Kopitar's been flipped to the Blues. If 3-team trades were a thing, that's what it would be. Anze Kopitar's been flipped to the Blues. We have cap space now to make a play for Matt Dumba as well. And we are absolutely going to do that. So Michael McLeod, who I really like, but it made sense to get rid of him for now with his inflated cap space. He is moved. We ultimately get a number 1 defenseman out of it. You never know. Maybe I hope one of the two, if not both of those prospects we use to make that deal happen, develop, because otherwise I feel really bad about abusing the space. But hey, or about abusing the value, but we're not going to be able to abuse values in 20, at least as much, if everything goes according to plan. So it's okay. Matt Dumba. I am going to pay you $7 million over the next 6 years for you to come to New Jersey and win a Stanley Cup, buddy. I'm tempted to, $7.25. I really just want to make sure he signs here. So we send the offer out for Dumba. Goaltending-wise, is there a fringe starter who's young, who's under a 77? Bonino isn't bad, but if he improves at all, that's going to kind of ruin it. Holy medium fringes. Jesus. There's 1,000 of them. There's 1,000 of them. Looking for a good age group here. It's not looking good, though, in terms of finding someone who might actually be able to develop. So it's going to be Bonino. I think this is Brett Bonino. I actually didn't know who that is, but we're going to sign him up, hopefully. He'll be the 5th goalie this year, and we'll figure out the rest of the team from there. So hopefully Matt Dumba accepts, and our defense has been completely reworked thanks to the wheeling and dealing. The team in general has been completely reworked. The changes in goaltending, the changes to acquire Colton Godfrey, Ulf Edler's accepted, and St. Louis is already trying to free up cap space. I'm so sorry, St. Louis. Bonino signs. Bjorkstrand signs. Here we go. Come on, Dumba. Come on down, Dumba. Matt Dumba has signed. We had to send him a little bit more just to make sure he joined up, but it's worth it. 6-year deal, I think it's $7.25, and with $5 million left to play with, we're looking good. If Askarov can be the starter that we need him to be, if Bednar can be the backup that we need him to be, and then defensively, someone's still going to be leaving the team. I'm not sure who, but we just completely rebuilt our top pair with Godfrey and Dumba on defense now. Between Butcher, Schultz, Sider, Smith, Spurgeon, and Martinic, people are going to have to leave, and that's okay. And then forward-wise, that's the top 3, obviously. Top 6, top 9, and then 1, 2, 3. We have players who can help fill out the bottom roles. I think we're looking okay, man. We're looking all right. Are there any other players left free agent-wise that I care to sign? Otherwise, we'll just fill out the roster once we get to September, October, right around the preseason. So Middlestat's still available. Not that we need any more forwards, but just to see. Casey Middlestat's the top option as an RFA. JT Compher also there. Philip Deneau. All right, I think we're good. We will we'll fill out the roster from there. So let's sim the next season. We made some moves, and we might not be done. Again, defensively, again, Severson's gone, but it's likely that Smith or Sider are likely to go as well. Jesper Bratt could also be on the way out. I mean, I think he's likely to start the season for us. We'll probably keep him and see how he does, but there are no more excuses for him. He's going to be on the second line, and if he starts dragging down the line in terms of, the plus-minus rating being poor, then, yeah, he's on the way out, and we'll find a replacement. But bottom line is, we all know what just happened. I abused trade values to put this team into a winning position. Do I feel bad about it? Kind of, because I don't find it overly fun. But on the flip side, like I said, NHL 20, they've reworked trade values. Goalies like that I used in that deal, or defensemen like that, aren't going to have those type of trade values, or at least they shouldn't. The defense still might, but it shouldn't be that bad. The goalies won't. So I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling all right about it, because we do want to end NHL 19 on a high note. Quickly here. Quickly. I want to see if there was anybody unsigned who should be in the AHL this year. Dubielewicz is the answer to that. We will sign him a year early. He is the only one, though, unfortunately. So we'll figure that out from there. No problem. And let's see what we have here, again, in terms of goaltending. So Askarov's up to an 85. Bednar is back up a level, as is Hunter Jones. So if Bednar struggles, Hunter Jones might be able to take his spot. Then defensively, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And Walsh, of course, will be sent down. Martinic is technically top 6. But I don't know. We could be stunting his development by not playing him at the NHL level. So that's something that we have to decide on. Is outside of the top pairing, which is already set between Godfrey and Dumba, we might split them up. But besides the top two, who stays and who goes? I mean, Justin Schultz is on an expiring deal, so in a way it would make sense to get rid of him, but he was our top defenseman last year. Do we keep him? And of course we have the younger options of Spurgeon, Sider, Ty Smith, and Richard Martinic. And we're going to have to make choices. I mean, Martinic can be sent down, but we might stunt his development a little bit. Between the rest of them, we have to make that choice, and I'll probably leave that up to you guys if I remember. And then forward-wise, again, we have our top 3, top 6, top 9, 10, 11, and 12 with Zetterlund. And that's probably the way we'll do it, just based off of player roles. We could change that if we need to. But that's 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically, I do need to get rid of a forward or two. Hillis, who we picked up, is someone who's going to be easily moved out. But I think we will give someone like Zetterlund the chance, and we'll see what happens from there. Person's also up to an 83, so it's a good bit of development for him. But we can make the choice if we wanted to split up Hughes and Heischer. If we really wanted to, that would give us a little bit better center depth. I mean, the bottom 6, Coleman, not as good of a center in terms of defense. The skating's a little bit better for Gates, too, so we'll leave Gates at center. And let's see what we have here. Cutler can't play center. Person absolutely can. If we wanted a little bit better center depth, we could break up Heischer and Hughes and then have Boqvist on the wing pretty easily. I'll leave that up to you guys as well. What do you think there? Is Jesper Boqvist good enough to carry the load at our second line center for this season? But we have to make that choice. Have to make that choice in terms of who stays and who goes defensively. Because there's a lot of different moves that could be made, a lot of different ways to go. And quickly here before we kind of recap that, I do want to see who we have forward-wise that we could get rid of, because we had a few too many. And again, there's a bunch of guys there in terms of value where it's like I could just trade them immediately. Some of them might make it. So Rorkins, I don't know if that guy's ever going to develop at this point. We have our low 6s. Greer as well. Hillis isn't looking too bad. I think it's going to be those low-rated, low 6 forwards that we have. Because otherwise, it's not looking good. So Robertson and Bjorkstrand, actually, who we picked up as a free agent. I think those are the two that are going to have to go here. And then Greer, I like Greer, but there's just not enough space. I mean, granted, guys like Spears, Altabarmarkian, Badini, they're up there. They're up there, and I just completely butchered Altabarmarkian's name, but that's okay. Barmakian. Because they're guys that might be able to push for a fourth line spot if Zetterlund doesn't go. So Spears can go, but Altabarmarkian, Badini, Pavanka, I kind of want to keep those guys for now. So it's going to be, I think, that group of players. I don't think I need to move all of them out, but I'm going to, if I can, to one team. The Philadelphia Flyers would be that team, but boy are they struggling, as are the Blues and the Leafs in terms of total contract. So Toronto, how would you like to give me a first-round pick? If I can go for it, I might as well. Rejected. How would you like to give me the Bruins' second-round pick? Rejected. How would you like to give me a third-round pick? And they would, but they're saving salary. You don't say. What about a fourth-round pick? I just want to get rid of them, man. They're just not going to do it, huh? Like, I get it. Cap trouble. I can see that. You're pretty screwed. Yeah, they're at least going to be smart enough to not completely shoot themselves in the foot. So, Philly. What about a nice, shiny second-round pick, maybe? Nope, they also want to save up cap. Cool. Is there anybody who's outright terrible that I could just take back, who's making way too much money to help St. Louis or anybody else? We could take Anze Kopitar back on like half salary and then just have an ace as a healthy scratch this year. If it works out money-wise, I don't think it will. Let's take a look here. Oh my god, why is this taking so long to scroll up to 50? This normally doesn't take so long. Copyrighted. Will that work? Okay, that would work. So Kopitar on half salary. Will that just work outright? Rejected. Cool. And money-wise, it would then be rough for us. So here, let's drop that a little bit. Oh God, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. I love how the New Jersey salary available is technically, well, yeah, I guess it would technically be going down, wouldn't it? So yeah, it doesn't work out for us money-wise. Toronto, do you have anybody that will help this work out for everybody? No, you don't. Okay, and Philly didn't either. Cool. Oh God, how am I gonna do this then? I'm gonna have to trade like all these guys individually, which is gonna limit what we can get back, which kinda sucks. I don't even know whether they're, we're saving up. Are any of these guys on expiring deals? Okay, 2 of them are, but they're gonna be cheap as hell. That doesn't make sense, man. Doesn't make sense at all. There's gotta be someone. Like, they're paying Konechny, Lindblom. Okay, they're like overpaying Robert Haig a little bit. What about like Haig, Myers, and Bunneman? Yeah, give me those 3. It literally doesn't make a difference. All right, we're keeping those guys. Screw it. I'm not going to be able to get anything for them because a lot of AI teams aren't managing their own rosters all that well. So the big question then heading out of this episode, like I said, is who stays and who goes between the defensemen. I think forward-wise, we're okay. We can see how a lot of these younger guys do first before we potentially make moves and think, okay, are we going to try to improve things? Second line center, we have to decide what we're doing. And then Bratt gets one more chance because it made more sense to trade McLeod than it did Ludwig Persson. And we made that choice ultimately. Hopefully I made the right one. Defensively, Godfrey and Dumba are here. Like it or not, for how it was done, they're here. But we have to decide who stays and who goes. Do we trust the veterans like Butcher and Schultz? Or out of this group, again, who stays, who goes? Martinek could be down in the AHL this season if we wanted him to be. Technically, we don't have to get rid of anybody here. we could have this combination of players and be fine and have somebody be the healthy scratch and just see who makes it and trial run that until the deadline. And if all of them are struggling again, figure it out from there. We do have options, but I'm excited to see what this team can do this season because, like I said, I mean, we're on Taylor Hall's time frame now. It's time to be competitive, and with the changes on defense, by the way, Ty Smith is the odd man out, and the changes in goal, it could be a very interesting year for us. Last year we started off oh so well, and then crashed and burned, a slow descent to a first-round sweep. This year, optimism, but how much optimism?